A chef, a doctor, a cringe YouTuber, the average person living their normal lives. In most Lovecraftian themed games, you never really experience the world through the eyes of just the average person. Instead, you typically play these games as a hero, a detective, or simply a normal person, but you're caught up in the middle of some kind of plot that now involves you, and now you have to stop some eldritch horror from destroying the world, only to remember at the very end that it is a Lovecraftian story, and no Lovecraftian story ever really ends with a happy ending. But what if I said that there is a relaxing, although terrifying at times, Lovecraftian themed game currently in development where you actually don't play as the hero trying to stop a cult from summoning some abomination into the world? In Sunken Engine, you basically play as a nobody just trying to live their lives, taking a step in your recently deceased father's shoes of just running an old shipyard. Actually, that's kind of a lie, because there are mysteries that you're trying to unravel, including one involving your quote-unquote dead dad, as well as your new acquisition of the Necronomicon. I already said that whole thing at the beginning, and I don't feel like redoing the intro for this video, so we're just gonna ignore that. To be fair though, it's not all a lie, since you are, for the most part, actually just a normal person simply running an old shipyard. Anyways, Sunken Engine is a pretty interesting game that I didn't realize that I needed, but it's also one of those that I've been actually wanting for a while. I'm sure many of us have tried out games like Power Wash Simulator or TCG Card Shop Simulator and thought to ourselves, what if somebody created a relaxing game like this, one where we do simple, meaningless tasks like cleaning up or collecting things, or maybe running a little shop to make some money so that we can upgrade things to make things look cool, and then invest money into upgrades to make more money so that we could buy even cooler things to make more money to buy more. You get my point. But what if we took those concepts and turned it into a horror game? Added some horror aesthetics, maybe some jump scares, or even some survival mechanic that ties in to all of it like a sanity meter. Well, that's essentially what this game is. And like I said before, in Sunken Engine, you do play as a nobody who inherited an old shipyard from your dad who recently died of some unknown cause. Instead of selling off the shipyard, our character chooses to carry on the family business by cleaning and repairing boats. Your job is to use your bucket to pick up dead fish carcasses and various other debris, the brush to clean up algae, blood, and some other fluids, the hammer for fixing up the ship railings and broken floorboards, and a spatula for scraping off barnacles that you can then sell to the locals who, for some reason, have a desire to spend insane amounts of money for oysters. The gameplay loop is pretty simple for the most part, but it is just as relaxing and addictive to other simulation games with similar gameplay loops, or at least as relaxing as it can be when your sleep paralysis demon occasionally pops up and gives you a random jump scare, causing your sanity to deplete and making you have to rely on medicinal herbs to relax. Outside of the theme for the game, as well as the story, which I'm not going to talk much about since the game is currently not out as of me making this video, some of the mysteries, backstories, and features have been left out in the demo. The horror aspects that occur after receiving a package containing the Necronomicon are actually very well implemented. The way that it works, at least in the game's current state, is that while you're working on repairing ships, you will hear these very subtle sounds to make you a little bit uneasy, all while a dark figure will occasionally linger around one of the various spots in the shipyard to give you a little bit of a jump scare when you're not expecting it. Whenever any strange events actually do happen, more so when you actually see something like a ghostly figure, your sanity meter will slowly drain, which will cause you to become more paranoid. And as far as I can tell, the more paranoid that you become, the weirder the things get. Well, if that's the case, then you might be asking, how do you de-stress yourself in the game then? And it's pretty simple. You just pull out your pipe and start smoking some of that good old oregano. You can't fool me, man. I know that ain't tobacco. It's a pretty slow process, but through some upgrades that you can also get from the local dealer, you'll be able to decrease that sanity meter slightly faster. Only slightly, though. This whole sanity mechanic is one of the more interesting aspects of the game that help break up the usual repetition, since I'm pretty sure that the higher the sanity meter, the more frequent the horror events happen, which will make you a bit anxious and keep you on your toes, causing you to look around the corners a little bit more slowly to prevent having a heart attack from a jump scare, but, you know, in a relaxing way. I won't lie, it's actually a little bit confusing when you think about it, because one moment you'll be sucked into the repetitive, addictive, and relaxing gameplay loop that this game has of picking up dead fish only to shit yourself out of fear and then immediately go back into Zen mode, making yourself completely relaxed and nearly forgetting what just happened 2 seconds ago. There isn't really any moments where you feel stressed from this since your sanity meter doesn't really fill up that fast, even from seeing the entity itself. And I also don't think that you actually die, because there's been plenty of times where I've had my sanity meter maxed out and nothing really happened outside of me freaking out more. So it really gives you the strange sensation of being scared while also just kind of being relaxed, which is a bit of a unique experience to say the least. That being said, the sanity meter isn't the only thing that breaks up the repetitive gameplay loop of simply cleaning the ships. While you are cleaning up, you will occasionally need to get rid of barnacles, which can provide you with oysters and starfish. Getting rid of these will, of course, make the customer happy because you're getting them off their boat, but it will also make your wallet happy since you can actually sell these in the back of the shop to the locals at a ridiculously overpriced fee for some extra coin to go in your pocket. This additional small shop feature is actually pretty neat, although a bit simple since there's only a few items that you can actually sell, and the shop area doesn't currently have any upgrades to it. Also, the customers seem to be the same few people fighting over the only 5 oysters that you've collected in the last 3 ships that you've actually cleaned, so I would say that it's a little bit basic, but even with it feeling like a small and simple addition, it still is a very nice addition to provide you with another income source, and it actually can help you to become a little bit more strategic with what ships that you want to clean, since the cleaning and repair orders that you receive from the fax machine that you keep up next to your bed will actually give you a general idea of what type of job it is before you actually need to do it. So by sorting through the right offers, you can get a pretty solid lineup of ships full of barnacles to make sure that you have a consistent stream of customers buying product from you. But if we're going to be making all that money, of course, we're going to need a way of spending that money, because otherwise, why make it at all? And as far as I can tell, there isn't any property or utility bills that you need to pay. Whether or not that's actually going to change in the full game, I have no clue, but while taking orders, you will need to replace various things on the ships themselves, which can vary from, replacing the floorboards, maybe some light bulbs, or even the flag that's actually on the front of the ship. If you interact with the map next to the front door, you can actually travel to other different buildings in town, although, of course, the shop is the only one that we currently have available. If we travel to the shop, however, we can buy all of these parts that we need to repair the boats. This is also where you can buy upgrades for your pipe or for your bucket so that you can carry more trash with you before needing to dump it all out into the furnace. But as helpful as this is, we all know what the real important money dump is. Cosmetics. I know none of you guys are going to disagree with this, but we all know from playing MMOs like Warframe or ESO that at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how powerful you are, what gear that you have, or how optimized your build or rotations are. The real goal and end game for these games is just how cool that we can make our characters look, as well as our player homes. And of course, that's no different here. You can choose from a pretty solid selection of different cosmetic changes for the Shipyard to add a personalized touch to it. And although the selection in the demo is a little bit limiting, I was actually pretty pleased with how my place turned out and didn't think once about how many thousands of dollars that I spent turning this cursed shipyard from this into this. Especially when considering that gaining that money isn't really that difficult and the gameplay loop is addictive enough for me to be completely okay with the grind. Plus, if you really want to make some big bucks, what you can do is save up and then get an upgrade for the docks so that you're able to bring in jobs to work on bigger ships, which will pay a hell of a lot more money than the smaller ones. I think when I was playing this and I got that upgrade, the price for the jobs that I was rewarded went from like $350 to $400 all the way up to like $1,800. So a pretty drastic increase. Overall, after playing this, Sunken Engine is an absolute gem in my eyes. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if this game is going to get a lot of attention when it releases, which is why I wanted to make this video about it, to try and help get at least a few more eyes on the game, especially when considering that the development team for this game only consists of 2 people, which is absolutely insane to think about. But this is a game that I know many people who enjoy these types of simulation games will enjoy, especially for those like me who enjoy horror games and the Lovecraftian aesthetics. If you guys want to check out the game for yourself, I'll have a link in the description so you can check out the demo and wishlist it. I also did a full playthrough of the demo over on my other channel, so if you guys do want to check that out, then I'll be sure to leave a link to that in the description as soon as it's available. But what do you guys think about the game? Have you tried it? If you have, then how do you like it? And if not, is this something that interests you at all? Also, if you're a fan of Lovecraftian themed games, let me know down in the comments what those games are so that other people who are looking for Lovecraftian games can have some suggestions, and maybe I'll check out some of them in the future if I haven't already. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for me for tonight. I know that this video is a bit of a short one and also a little bit different than my recent videos, because if you go back like 3 videos, it will be pretty different from this one. But I like to have fun whenever I make videos, and sometimes I feel feel like, you know, just giving my opinions on a game or showcasing some cool indie game that I found, and other times I want to do a challenge or explore some game or mod quest that I found. I know that it could be a little bit confusing for some new people who are finding this channel, so I do apologize for that, but I kind of just do whatever I want because I feel like that's how creating videos should be, rather than trying to appease some algorithm god or corporation or whatever. But enough rambling. I hope that you guys did enjoy the video, and I hope to see you guys in future videos. Good night, guys.